So now we're going to move on to defending the mount position. So again, we're looking at it from the perspective of the guy on the bottom. This here is bottom mount. He is mounted, I am in full mount, he is in a bad position here. So you'll notice that I am kneeling, my knees in his armpit here, and I'm past his hip line, past his legs here, right? This is a very, very important distinction in Jiu Jitsu. Like a lot of people will just see someone on top, someone on the bottom here. There's a massive, massive difference between me being on top with my legs around his upper body, direct access here, as opposed to if I have his legs in between him and myself, whether it's like feet on the hips, wrapped around my hips or something else here. I'm still on top, he's still on the bottom, but now he can use his legs to control me. In fact, his upper body, as you can see here, it's kind of, his whole body is now able to attack my upper body, right? As opposed to here, where it's my whole body wrapped around his upper body. Right? I've taken away one of his main tools to defend himself, and here I have direct access to what's most vulnerable, his neck, and also I can attack his arms. Right? But here, very, very important position to know how to defend. Now, Jiu Jitsu is considered a dominant position, less dominant than back control perhaps, but in MMA, mixed martial arts and self-defense, this is probably a much worse situation because I can strike here as well and submit. In Jiu-Jitsu there are no strikes, so it's going to be a little bit different. But as soon as you start throwing strikes at someone, the game changes very, very quickly. And we definitely do not want to be in the bottom here. Right. In Jiu-Jitsu, this is probably, this is a great position. It's a little bit harder to hold top mount, full mount, than it is to hold back control. It's generally slightly easier to escape this position, especially in the early days when you need to escape back control. So, amongst other reasons, that's generally why it's slightly lower in the hierarchy compared to back mount. So, now we're going to look at a couple of basic escapes. So the very first one is going to be a bridge and a roll. So this is the most basic mount escape that you've most likely have seen. And it's going to be incredibly hard for me to demonstrate this properly because these guys are not the best done. But what we're looking to do here, whether I'm looking to choke him in my hand in his collar, whether I'm looking to strike or whatever, his aim is to control one of my arms and stop me from being able to post and defend. Right? So let's say I'm grabbing his collar and my arm's just here. He's going to take his arms here, control my arm here. Now it's tied to him. Right? This takes away my ability to reach out and post. Right? So posting is creating a post in the ground to which I can drive back and stop myself from falling over. If he knocks me in this direction, I'm going to post my arm on the ground here. I can obviously post with this arm here, but it's going to be less comfortable, it's going to be a little bit slower, it's not going to be as powerful, as strong a post as if I stick my arm out here. So naturally, if we're trying to take someone in one direction, what we're going to do is try and take away that post here. So I'm controlling my right arm, so I cannot post this way. Right? He's trying to take me this way here. Now my right arm is tied to him. I can't post except for my left arm here, right, which is less easy. Now, if he tries to take me in this direction, I can always step this leg up here. Right? So what he's also going to try and do, also you should never be lying with your legs flat like this, but this poor guy doesn't have much of a choice. He's going to try and bring his foot up, and hook, bend his knees, and hook the outside of my leg, my foot here. So it's going to be harder for me to move my leg here. Now what he's going to do, he's obviously not going to do this, but he's going to turn his head to the side a little, not too much because he doesn't want to expose his back, and he's going to bridge his hips. Right? So this is the bridge towards the side that we were doing earlier in the movement sequences here. So what he's going to do is control my arm, now blocking his leg, so my ability to post in this direction is limited. He's going to drive off his back leg here. He's going to drive this way, lifting his hips here. He's going to push and roll in this direction. Now he's on top. So, here, he's on top. Hopefully you can see what's going on. So, the knees are up on top of me here. Now, I want to be keeping my arms down, because if he starts to attack here, right, I do not want to extend my arms up, because it takes my arms away from my body and makes me vulnerable to attack. For purposes of this demonstration, right, I'm keeping my arms out a little because I'm trying to hold him upright, but usually I won't be doing this too much. But even my arms are away from my body, I at least want to keep my elbows tucked in here. Right. If I start trying to bridge here, notice is over my hips. Right. It's going to be much easier for me to move in here. If his weight is up over my shoulders here, I start to bridge, and notice he doesn't move as much. Right? So I want him down over my hips. And the way I'm going to do this here, if he's up here, I'm going to look forward. It's much harder for me to bring my elbows down because his knees are blocking me here. So I want to keep my arms as tight as possible and frame against his hips. I'm going to wriggle and push here until he's down over my hips. Guys, this is going to look slightly different when you're doing this with a live partner, but bear with me, I'm doing the best I can. So my arms are tucked in here, so my elbow glued to my side as best as I can. I'm framing, keeping my arms and elbows in as tight as possible, pushing against his head. Now here, what I'm looking to do, especially if he's reaching from the neck and trying to choke me, control his arm. I would use both. My right arm here now, try and keep him in place. And left leg come over top and try and hook the outside of his ankle, stopping him from posting this way. Now, if I just bridge up in the air, try and lift him belly up, I'm going to take him forwards, which isn't the end of the world. What I want to do is roll him over to the side. How I'm going to do that, and turn my head and face the camera here. Because if I want to drive in this direction, I want my body lined up my head. The more aligned my body, the stronger it's going to be. So I'm going to control, and lift, and turn. And now, locking the leg, I'm going to drive with my hips here, over to the side. I'm taking them sideways, and upwards. As I do this, here, I roll and bring the come on top. So now, I'm on top, even though he might have his guard around me, at least I'm on top, not on the bottom, getting out of the down position. So, that's our basic Upa mount escape from the bottom. I want to look at slightly more technical mount escape, which is the one we usually use here. And this is based around the shrimp. So, again, you can already see that the basic movements that we're using build up our movement vocabulary. We're tying into these basic movements, these basic techniques straight away. So, before I was saying how he wants to keep his arms in, right? Because if his arms were extended away from his body, it's much easier for me to start attacking, arm bars, arm locks, things like this. It's also a very bad way to stop a punch here. If he's just reaching up, it's easy for me to punch around here. It's much safer for him to keep everything tucked in here. If he holds his arms tight to his body, you can try this. If you cling your arms to your body, you're now engaging the entire back, shoulder, everything. Very hard to pull your arm away from the body. My arm is away, and it's just my shoulder protecting myself here. It's a lot harder to move or to protect myself there, to stop someone doing something to me. So his arm's going to be in again. Same thing, he wants to keep me from getting high up, because the higher up I go, the harder it is for him to get his arms down. because I'm blocking his ability to get his elbows close to his body. He can push on my hips, keeping his elbows tucked in, and push me back down his body. Because again, the more movement he has, the more he has me over his hips, the easier or more movement there's going to be when he does bridge. What he's looking to do now, now he's got me down, is get an elbow inside my knee. It's going to be really hard for him to push my knee. Outwards is going to be easier, but even then, it can be hard to do, especially when my weight is down here. So he's going to do the bridge. He's going to bridge straight up this time. Because he's not trying to move me, he just wants to take my weight onto my arms. Right? Because now, when I come forwards here, and this is big bridge, my weight is onto my arms, my knees are going to be a little bit wider here. As this happens, pushes his arms, it's his elbow inside my knee, here, right? This is step one. Now he's starting to make space for him to move. What he's looking to do is turn his leg onto his side and bring his knee up as far as he can, here. So his knee is starting to poke out from underneath my shin. Once he's done this, he's starting to free his legs. He's starting to get his legs back in between me and him. He can keep pushing with his elbow and lifting with his knee until he can connect them together. Right? Now, keeps them wedged together, like when we were doing shrimp before. So now, if I want to slide back to that position, it's not possible. He's got a frame in the way. If he's struggling to do this movement here, if his knee's out or whatever, but he can't move his leg, he can also take this leg, hook it over my ankle, drag it back here to make it easier for him to pull his leg up here. Once he's got this leg in place, he can shrimp out again here, using his leg to hip out until he can make space, bring his leg out here, and come back to full guard here. Right? So, this is kind of a tricky one to show. Hopefully I can demonstrate what's going on here. So, I'm now underneath my opponent, and I'll be executing the escape as best as I can. Here. His knees are down, everything's in place. If he's up over my chest here, I need to get my elbows in, frame, wriggling down my body until his weight is over my hips here. Elbow tucked in as close as I can, chin tucked so he can't get to me here. Right. Now what I'm looking to do, ridge up high so his weight comes forwards and his hands come to the ground. This will take his weight off his knees. Keep my elbow on the inside. And what I'm trying to do, take my leg and turn it so that my foot is pointing to the outside here, my knee and my foot are pointing to the outside here. I'm going to try to slide it up the mat, at the same time pushing with my elbow to connect my knee and my elbow together underneath his leg. Now he tries to drive his knee forwards, there's a frame, there's no space for him to get his knee to the ground here. I'm not trying to do anything. And if I can't do this, I can use my leg to hook and bring my knee all the way through. So here, I'm halfway out. I need to square up to him. Here. Right. And turn back. Turning back to face him, I block his arm, his leg, and I shrimp out again to my other knee now goes out. My right leg is free. Now my left leg is coming out too. I shrimp again. That's how I can bring my guard back. So, all the way from the top one more time. Here. Pushing down my body. Here. Bridge. He was working to his hands and off his legs. Push. Push with my elbow. Lift my knee towards my elbow here. Now plant my foot. Turn. And I shrimp out. So now my leg is free here. I can go to a half guard situation where I'm really in a better spot because my legs are now controlling one of his. I've got something in between him and me. I can shrimp out again. Bring my legs out. He's about to close guard. So, obviously, This is not the perfect demonstration. Here, it's a basic move. First one, control your arm, turn to the side, push your bottom from shoulder. Second one, pushing down, bridge up, elbow inside, your leg goes flat, then knee and elbow together, shrink to the other side, pull the leg out, cut out the closed guard. So we have an elbow push escape, which is the second one, and with the hip bump escape, which is the first one. These work really, really well in combination. There are other escapes, but for now, hopefully I'll give you the idea.